Hello guys, welcome back to this channel and thanks for viewing this video. Today I'm going to show you how to create a text area using Java graphical user interface. So what is a text area? By definition, a text area is a multi-line area or region that you can use to display text. So in Java, there's a special class called JTextArea that is used to create text areas. And I'm also gonna take an example where we will have a text area that will allow the user to enter some lines of text, and then our program will be able to count the number of words in the text written by the user and also the number of characters. Without delay, let us start right away. So as you can see in my program, I have two classes. I have the main class test app, and I'm creating my frame object in this main method. And then I have a second class called my frame, which is extending or inheriting the properties and the methods from the myFrame class. I have a constructor, and in that constructor, I am defining the various attributes of the frame. If you want to create a text area, this is what you need to write. So I will say JTextArea, and I'm going to call this text area equal new JTextArea semicolon. I'm having an error because I need to import the JTextArea class. Once I have done that, I can add this particular text area to the frame. So I will say this.add text area, then semicolon. If I run, nothing will show because we need to set the bounds of our text area. As you can see here, the layout manager is null. So let me come to text area here that set bounds, and then I'm going to say 20 for X axis, then 20 for Y axis. Then I'm going to specify the width and the height of my text area. Let's run. So now you can see the text area showing on the screen. If you want, I can actually increase the size of the text area and say 500 like that. So the text area is having a background color of white. One other thing we can do is that we can set some text, some default text to contain our text area. So in the text area constructor, I will come and add some string. I will say, thanks for viewing. Now, when I run, you can see the text, thanks for viewing, showing in my text area. What if I want to change the font family? I would say set font, new font, Arial, font plain, and then 18 as the font size. Now, when I run, there you can see the text showing in the text area. If you want to change the background color, so you can say text area that set background color that cyan, import the color class and run. Now you can see the background color of our text area has changed. So I will comment this for now. I will rather change the background color of the frame. So I will say this.get content pane that set background, then color, and I'll say new color. So I need to say 0x like this. Now when I run, so we will change, let's say A9, 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 and I run. It's a little bit darker, so I'll say DC, DC, DC. Okay, so that's it. So now what we want to do is that we want to allow the user to type in some lines of text in the text area, and then let our program tell us how many words the user has typed and how many characters the text contains. In order to do just that, we are going to need some other GUI components. So I'm going to declare those components globally. So I'll say JLabel, label 1, and then label 2. Let me import the JLabel class. I will also need a button, JButton. BTN. 8, let me come inside the constructor. I will initialize the labels and the button. So I'll say label 1 equal new JLabel. I'll copy that, paste it down here, and I will call this label 2. I need to instantiate the button as well. So JButton, and that's it. So I can add this to the frame. So I will say this.add label 1, copy, paste like that, come down here. So I'll change this to label 2. This one will be btn for button. I need to set the bounds. For label 1, that's set bounds. So that will be 25, 25, and then 250. Let me run. It's not showing because it's actually behind the text area. So let me try to fix my text area here. So I'll say 100, or maybe 25, and then for y-axis 100. Let me set the text for label 1. I'll simply say label 1, and I'm gonna remove that just to show you that the label has been added to the frame. There you can see label 1. All right, so I'll set the bounds for label 2 as well. So I'll say label 2. So now here, the x-axis will be 200. I'll keep the y-axis the same, and then the width will also be the same, and the height as well. So let me set the text to label 2 and run, and let's just see how this is going to be positioned. Okay, so this is how it's positioned. Let me increase this, let's say 500. Okay, now it's looking a lot more better. I can set the font for this. So I will say label 1. Set font, new font, Arial font, plain. Let me say bold here. And then the font size 18. So when I run, now this is how it's looking like. I will copy and apply the same for the label 2. You know, one thing we can add here is going to be the set foreground, you know, for the color of the text. We'll say color blue. All right, so let's run. Yeah, we're having color blue. Copy that, paste it down here, and simply change to 2 here. Let's work on the button. So as for the button, we will need the bounds. We will also need the font and the foreground as well. As for the bounds, what are we going to do? So we will leave the x-axis the same, but we will only change this y-axis and say that it's 600 pixels. So let me put btn here. btn again. Let me run. The button is not showing. So for the button to show, we had to actually stretch our frame because, you know, we set the size of our frame and the height is 600. So we need to fix that. Now we'll simply reduce the size, the height like this. And then for the button, I will place it at 500 pixel axis Y. Now let me run. There you see the button. All right, I'll say 350, and this one I'll say 450. Let's run. That's how it's looking like. Let me say 480. Okay, 460, and then I will reduce this to 90. I can also increase the width of the text area. I will say 750. When I run, let me simply say 725. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add another button. So I will say here, btn 2. So what I'm going to simply do is to copy this portion of code, paste it here. Instead of btn, I will say btn2, 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 btn2. And here, instead of that, I will say 525. Okay, let me put semicolon here. I think that was the reason why. I run. I need to add that second button to the frame. That add btn2 semicolon. Okay, so let me say 550 here. Now we have all our GUI components on the screen. The next thing we need to do is to add the action listener to our frame. We come up here and say implement action listener, import the action listener. Now we'll add the action performed method here. First of all, we need to add the action listener to our button. So we say btn.add action listener this, and then btn2 as well, add action listener this. There's a typo here. Now that's okay. So let me first explain what this small program will do. Let's say that if we click on btn, okay, this button, we want the program to actually return the number of words Okay, so we say number of words in the text contained in the text area. All right, so now for the button 2, we want the program to return the number of characters contained in the text. So I have upset the text for these buttons. Now you can see if I run, now you have the text showing on the button. I can maybe just fix the size. So now I have number of words, number of characters. Let's come to our text performed, where we are going to write the code to tell our program to output the number of words or the number of characters. The action event argument, I will simply call this EVT. So now we first need a string variable that will be called str, then that will be equal to text area that get text. Text area, there's an error because we didn't declare text area globally. So we have to declare it outside of the constructor in order to be able to access it in the method. Declare it outside of a constructor by saying JTextArea, text area like this, and then in your constructor, that's where you can instantiate the text area. So once I've done that, you can see the error has disappeared. Now, after we've done that, we need to create an array of strings. So we will say string. Here we will say call it words. So that array is actually going to be made up of the words contained in the text being typed by the user. So we say equal to str.split. So this is going to split our str variable, and if you can recall, the str here is actually getting the text from the text area. So this line of code, what it's going to do is that simply going to get the text, will split it, and then here we can specify the delimiter where it has to split. We say S. That means that whenever a program reaches a space, it's going to split. All right. So this is what this means. And after we have done that, we can now work on our label. So we say label 1, that's set text in the brackets. So label 1, we will say the number of words is semicolon, and then we will say words that length. All right, so because words here is a string and it is splitting the text into words, and each word contained in the text is going to be an item of the array. All right, so if we get the length of the array, we are getting necessarily the number of words contained in that array. So if you want to get the number of characters, we will not use the array, but we will instead use the str. And then we will want to get the length of the text written by our user. And here, with the text here, even the space is considered to be a character. So we say label2 set text, the number of characters is, and this will return the number of characters. So now let me run. If I type in hello world, how are you? And let me click on number of words. Now you can see the two labels are actually running at the same time. What can we do? We will use the if statement here and say if get source is equal to btn, then we want our program to run this. Else, if event that get source is equal to btn2, but then we want our program to run this, and then simply paste it inside. So now before we do that, let's simply reduce the size of the labels here for label 1 and label 2. Let's put it to 12. Come back here. So now if I type in hello world, now I have 2 words. Let me run. Now we can see the number of words is 2. If I click on number of characters, the number of characters is 11. So our program has worked. Let me increase that. I will simply increase this to 450. This as well, 450. Or let me say 350 and 350. Now let me run. I will say, how are you doing? So as you can count, I'm having 4 words. So now if I run, I say the number of words is 4. The number of characters is 17. So let me say 4. Like this. So I can choose to make this label 1, label 2 disappear. Wow, how can I do that? Yeah, in the constructor here, instead of instantiating the text for my labels, I will leave that blank, and I would want the label to show the text only when the user clicks on the buttons. So now when I come here and write hello everyone, and then click, the number of words is 2, the number of characters is 14. So I can write, let me simply say, thanks for viewing this video. Please do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos like this one. So as you can see, when I write a long line of text, the text is going beyond the size of my text area. So we need to add line wrap in order to fix that, so that whenever we reach the edge of my text area, the text will automatically come to a new line. So how do you do that? Let's come in the constructor, and then where we instantiated our text area, let's say here that text area that set line wrap true, and then text area that set wrap style word to true. So this is going to set the line wrap. This is going to set the wrap style word, so that now when you run your program, and I'll say, I hope this video was informative, and please do not forget to like, share. You can see now when it reaches the edge of the text area, it comes back automatically to the new line. All right. So let me don't forget to comment. Now it comes back to the new line. So if I click on number of words, you can see the number of words is 19, and number of characters, the number of characters is 102. Okay, so now let's see, what if we have too many lines of text? For example, I'll copy and paste this. We already know when the text reaches the edge of the text area, it comes back to a new line. But what if we have a long text like this, and you can see I can copy and paste a very long text. Now I'm not being able to scroll down in this particular text area. So we need to be able to scroll down. Like if we have a very long line, very long paragraph, for example, we have to be able to scroll down. How do we do that? So in order to be able to do that, we will use the ScrollPane class. Okay, so let's come back to our code here. We are going to declare ScrollPane. So I will say JScrollPane, and I'm going to call it ScrollPane. Let me import the ScrollPane class. So let me come back to here. So just after the text area, I'm going to say ScrollPane, new JScrollPane. And what we're going to do is that we're going to pass the text area as a parameter of our ScrollPane instance. So let's come down here. We will add the ScrollPane to the frame. So we say this that add ScrollPane. Now something will miss here. If I run, you can see if I repeat pasting some long lines of text in the text area, you can see nothing is really happening. We don't have any ScrollPane. Why? Because first of all, we have not set the bounds for the ScrollPane. All right. So we need to set the bounds. We want our ScrollPane to have the very same dimensions and alignment than our text area. So we simply copy this line of code, and here I will change this to ScrollPane like this. So even though I do that, I will still not be able to have the ScrollPane, applied on the text area. Now you see I have a very long line of code, but still no ScrollPane. So to fix that, let's come back to the lines of codes where we added our GUI components to the frame. So here we have the ScrollPane. What we're going to do is to remove the line of code where we added the text area to the frame. All right. So I will simply comment it, and then the program will now take that into consideration when it will run our program. So now when I run, okay, now you can see I'm having the text area. I can simply come on the internet. I will copy some dummy text, come back here, I'll paste the dummy text. And now you can see when I have a very long line of text, automatically a scroll pane will appear. So there you can see the scroll pane showing. And if I click on number of words, you can see it counts the number of words. If I click on number of characters, it counts the number of characters contained in my text area. So now one other thing we can work on is actually to set the margin of the text contained in the text area. As you can see here, there's no margin left, even there's no margin top as well. So how do you add the margin top, left, right, or bottom to the text contained in the text area? All right, to add the margin, we need to use the method called setMargin. So we will come here and say text area that set margin, and then in here we will say new insert, and then we are going to specify the margins like this. Let me import the insert class. Now, when I run, you can see that now we're having a margin here. Just to show you, if I increase the margin and let's say this one to 50, so it has increased the margin top. If I increase this to 50, it has increased the margin left. And then the rest will be for the margin bottom and right, like this. Okay, so I can simply say for margin top, it's going to be 10 pixels. As for margin left, it will be 15 pixels. So now when I run, now you can see how the margin has taken effect. So I'll copy this dummy text and come and paste it here. So you can see that the text is having some margin, and it looks a lot more nicer to have some margin, in a text like this. And if I click on number of button, number of words, and number of characters, this is what is showing. All right. So guys, I hope this video was informative, and please don't forget to like, to share, to comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos like this one. Let's meet in the next one.